So let's see if it shows up on YouTube and how.
Is it like a real time on YouTube? No.
Yes. So we're streaming live.
Okay.
Okay, so I can hear myself with a delay on YouTube. No, there's a slight delay. You can also hear my voice. It feels a bit annoying. Okay. From the look of it, it looks like it says that there's 2 watching now, so it's probably the 2 of us. Okay. We're down to 1, so that's probably just me. Gonna make sure that no one's looking for information. Okay, so far so good. I guess we'll wait another few minutes to start.
Okay.
I have also the option to save the video, so
Is it recorded on YouTube? Not really. Okay.
I believe it is actually.
Okay.
Well, there's 4 people watching now, so people are coming in slowly. For those who are waiting, we will start in a few minutes.
Okay.
Feel free to leave a comment, say hi, let us know who you are and where you're watching from. I had to turn down the video on the stream because it was getting a little distracting. Do you have the stream open then, Mohammed?
Yeah, I think so.
Just want to know, so I have an idea who's here.
We can ask if someone here, just say hi. Send us like a message.
Yeah, you can use the chat functionality in YouTube to communicate with us, ask questions if you have any. We'll start in a few minutes.
Okay, Victoria.
Good evening, Victoria.
Hi, Victoria. When maybe we could, could start.
We're doing well, thank you.
Just give me a second. Sorry, maybe animation slideshow. Yes. Yeah. I don't know if you are able to see.
Yep.
Yes. Yep. Okay. Hello, everyone.
Just a moment. Let me introduce you. Okay.
Go ahead.
So we'll get started with the conference for tonight. It's recorded on YouTube anyway, so if you're coming in late, it's okay because you can always watch it later. Our guest speaker tonight is Mohamed Hanini. He'll be talking about the hidden layers of dialogue system for AI chatbot systems. So the conference tonight will be in English. However, at the end of Mohamed's presentation, you can ask questions either in French or in English, whichever language you're more comfortable with. So I'll let Mohamed start to introduce this topic rather. So have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you, Frédéric, for the introduction. Hello, everyone. Well, today the goal is to, first of all, introduce some, I'll say, components in natural language processing. So we'll start with like a warm up with a quick introduction first, and we'll tackle a named entity recognition, which is a downstream task very known in natural language processing. It's also used in dialog systems in general. We'll also quickly see the action prediction as well, as it's a main component to predict the answer of the user. I'm sorry, yeah, the answer to the user when the dialog system receives any input, and then we'll end with a demo. And I think today the idea is to make the demo of the chatbot application in insurance, and see how can we go far with natural language processing. So I guess you already used tools powered by natural language processing. I believe that you may know Siri on your Apple applications or maybe Alexa. So those applications are, how can I say, are based on natural language processing, and the idea is to based on natural language processing architecture, those applications are enabled to understand or transform to recognize the voice. So transform the voice to a text. So we could think about sequence of MP3 or another kind of format, and that sequence could be transferred to a text level, which is a natural language processing task. So what is natural language processing? Natural language processing is an artificial intelligence field which covers the interaction between the machine and the human language. So we're gonna say maybe NLP to just define the natural language processing and go faster. So the NLP is a multidisciplinary field. We could think about the Translate, Google Translate. We could think about the speech to text and text to speech as well. We'll also show it in our demo. So we could also generate from the text a voice, which is text to speech. And the goal here is how can the machine understands the human language. This is really the purpose of natural language processing and the way we train the algorithms in natural language processing. So just a quick introduction of let's say a voice-enabled chatbot. So the user start talking with the chatbot. So there is a first component which is the speech to text, and that component let's say transforms the as I said the speech to the text. So there is a voice recognition downstream task, and once we have the text, so the second component, which is a classifier. So we need to understand the input we have, or the text we have, the sentence we have, the meaning of the sentence we have. And so we need, I will explain it maybe later on, but like the same sentence will be segmented on many tokens, and every single token has its own word or token representation. So we could think about how can I say a cube of 3 dimensions, and we want to, how can I say, represent some words or some points within that cube. So like you could have I don't know, some like dog and cat, and see even measure the distance between dog and cat, but within that cube, within that space. I mean, it's you just think about like how can I say, 2 points in 3 dimensions. So every single point has 3 representation components. So it's the way we at the end we train the machine to understand the dictionary, the dictionary of words. And once we, let's say, classify the intent of the users, we may also use the named entity recognition to extract the entities, and I will also give you an example of how can we use the named entity recognition within a dialog system. So once we have so once we classify the intent, we need to understand, or we need to predict an answer. And the classifier of the input and the answer prediction are two different components, as we need, based on the intent we classified, we need to understand the history of the conversation. So so we can think about all the way to say hi, hello, and all the way to say hi. And when we propagate that input to our network or our deep network, that input is classified as a greeting. Now, greeting is maybe when we start the conversation with the, how can I say, by inputting hi, we may, the dialog system may respond, hello, how can I help you? As you just started the conversation. Now, if we are at the end of the conversation and we say hi, I don't know, the user maybe just, rather than saying bye, just said hi, just say hi. We may maybe predict goodbye, as we have we know that there is we know, like the how can I say, the architectures already trained for some with some scenarios, and that's the likelihood to predict goodbye when we input hi is really likely, is really high. So that's why we may sometimes, so we need to know the history of the conversation as well. And once we have the answers, we could think about generating that answer or that text to and transform it into a voice. So we can generate from the text to, and then so we can use the text to speech component. So here, just to continue, so I talked about the representations or word representations or token representation, but without defining the type of the representation we could have. There are many word embedding representations. I just want to define, like for instance, like a quick, like simple examples of word representation. So we could think about one hot vector I mean, it's used to at the end identify the position of the word. So we could, in my left, we could see the cat is playing outside. So we could have a representation of that sentence with the one hot vector. So the problem with that presentation, the dimension of the, how can I say, of that vector is really high, as if we want to represent all the words and of the dictionary, we need maybe, I don't know how many, honestly, I never counted all the words of the dictionary, but we may we need maybe like a million dimensions. So it's really costly to implement that kind of method. We may think the other problem also we have with with the one hot vector that when we need to understand the similarity between two words, we may also face issues as well. And also the one of the disadvantage, one of the cons of that method is is the fact that as we see, it's very static representation, so we don't take into account the context as those how can I say those I don't want to say binary, but that those one hot vector are really static. So in my in the right of the slide, I gave a quick, an example of dance vector, which is so the same sentence could be represented with three real values, and as you see here, we have dance vectors, and it will give us a good representation in general. And but I didn't talk about the context here, as we can have dance vectors as you see here without taking into account the context. So quickly, for chatbot, what we need to understand, first of all, the word embedding, so the space embedding. We want to understand the representation of every single word. We need also to how can I say, we need to have an NER architecture enable us to named entity recognition classifier, enable us to extract entities, and I will give you an example about what does it mean to extract an entity within in a sentence. And we need also a sentence classifier, or an intent classifier. As I said, we input many how can I say, texts in a dialog system, and that text or those inputs need to be the machine doesn't really know what does it mean, so we need to classify every single intent. And so first of all, we need to define all the intents, or many intents for a specific domain, and we need to also variate every single. When we want to train an architecture, we need to variate every single intent. I'll say variate enough training examples for every single intent, like classifying an image. We need many images variated to be enabled to train any architecture. And once we train our architectures, we are enabled to, based on any input, if the, how can I say, if the architecture is well trained, we're enabled to classify well the input of the user. Now, once we input that text to the dialog system, we need to know also the sequence of the conversations we have. It's like, think about a robot. So we need to know all the historical conversations, and once we have the historical conversation, we may predict an answer, or which is also called an action in general for dialog systems. So based on a historical conversation, so we are enabled to predict an answer. So many there are many architectures handling that kind of component. I would like quickly to tackle a very known downstream task of natural language processing, the name entity recognition. So I don't know if you already, how can I say, worked on application for NER, but well, the idea is to the idea is to understand, for instance, if the entities within any sentence. So when we want to train our model, we first of all we need to give a kind of, or first of all define the entities, define the entities first, and then we need also to assign a label to each word. So here, for instance, if we want to I'll say, yeah, if we want to take the example, Alan Turing lived in England, and we label Alan as a person, Turing as a person, will not, how can I say, touch to live in, and we label England as a location. So let's just focus about Turing. And if we want to classify Turing in using, let's say, named entity recognition architecture, we may, how can I say, when we input Turing, if we just want to think about Turing, so yeah, so and project Turing on the how can I say, on our network. So we may have those. Sorry, we may have those. Let's say those values, and those values will be inputted in a softmax, which is a function enable us to understand the likelihood of every single the likelihood of every single word. But it's a conditional probability. So based on or given the neighborhood of the given the neighborhood of other, given the neighborhood, which means given the other words, and we see that just a toy example that let's say the champion here is Turing, as Turing is the likelihood that Turing classified as a person is 96%, and as the architectures are pre-trained with Wikipedia, I guess that Turing is well, how can I say, annotated, and the models are trained well. How can I say? So we have enough examples of Turing in Wikipedia. So here I just in this slide I just give a, how can I say, a quick also a summary of how could we test like a chatbot. There are many tests, but there are integration tests. There are also we for the classifier, we have also cross-validation tests as well. We need to assess the accuracy by using F1 score. But just a quick test. There is a the confusion matrix is generated to validate if the prediction is well classified or not. So we may focus on only the diagonal of the matrix, and we see here that just if the user requests a form, we see that there's a misclassification as the predicted label was action listen, but the real, the true label is a code form. So there is a kind of confusion. As I said, the idea here to make a demo, maybe to clarify all these, the review or the quick review. So I would like to here introduce to Olivo our insurance platform. So I don't know if you are unable to see my screen. I guess yes. I'm gonna put here, enlarge my screen. So here we present the company, and let's see what's going on life insurance. And the idea here is to we build the product to really streamline the life insurance user onboarding. So what we want, first of all, we want to make sure that the user agrees about giving, his information. Okay. So just to come back, so what I said here, so let's go without the speech to text. So here, when I say I want to have a quotation, this is my input, and that input is projected on the architecture. It's not true. That input is projected on many architecture. We are using many architecture to have an answer. Now every single word is a token, and every single token has its own word or token representation. So here the tokenizer is so we use a tokenizer before having before having all features for every single vector, so here our sentence is a matrix in itself when it's propagated into the platform. And so the dialog system will classify that sentence to request code, I guess, and but the predict and the answer predicted is, of course. Do you know what type of life insurance are you looking for? So, so here we didn't use the NER as, for this case, we didn't use the named entity recognition, as we didn't extract any, let's say, entity for this case. I will maybe tackle an example when we use the named entity recognition. So here, do you know the type of life insurance? I'll say not at all. Sorry, not at all. $40. Ah, 40. Not really. Yeah. So here, for instance, I'd say a lot, about $400,000. I don't know why the microphone is not, so the speech to text is not recognizing well, but it's a very good example of named entity recognition. So that sentence, so we extract $400,000 as an amount. Let's say, and here we, so here we tackle two entities, like my answer is, I have a debt and I gave the amount of the debt. So if we can go back, could you go back? A lot. A lot. So as you see here, I mean, when I said a lot, the system predicts the amount of the debt. But here, the system predicted like how long do you have to repay your longest remaining debt. So and if I give the amount here, I expect to have this answer. So in total, what is the amount? I'll say 450K. And as you see here, we have the same prediction or the same answer that we had before. Let's say 23 years. Not yet. I'm not sure, as I think I put my headphones and I'll say not yet. So I'm not sure about why the speech to text is not, or the micro is not working very well. So do you intend to have maybe in 2 years? What is your annual net income? It's fake, but let's say 92K. In total, what is the amount of liquid assets? 100K. Yep. And I say not really. Are you not? and here we are enabled to, I mean, based on the based on the conversation, we are enabled to call an API and how can I say, yeah, present to the user all the possibilities or all the products offered in the market. But as you saw, there is a kind of we have here an approximation as for term life insurance, for a combined permanent and term policy, and for permanent life insurance. As in practice, we don't have a 23 years product. In general, the insurance products are, we may see 25 years or 20 years. So let's, for instance, choose term insurance. Argue with not now. Yeah, I don't know. Not now. I don't know, but there's. I never tested the StreamYard platform, Frédéric, but so I'm not sure if it's my micro of the platform we are using. So what is your first name? Mo. What is your last name? Hanini. I'm a man. What is your phone number?
I'm sorry. What was the question, Mohammed?
I'm not sure if the micro, because I have a micro issue.
Well, your microphone seems to be working well for the presentation. So
exactly, but I don't know why here it's not working well. But
it could be the browser that's the problem.
Exactly, that's what I'm trying to. Because intelligence.ca usually, as no, it's true. You are totally right. As it shouldn't. Yeah, maybe I have a doubt. I rarely use my headphones, so maybe it's I don't know. Maybe the browser is. Anyways, I'm not sure. It's confused about that. But it. Could you tell me in which province you live? In Quebec. Annually. So here we, as you see, we can summarize all the, I'll not say the conversations, but the variables that enable us to have a insurance price premium, and we could change the variable if we made if we made any mistake, but for now we'll say okay, everything is okay, and okay, as you see, we are able to have the, how can I say, a summary of all the insurance pricing market. So so yeah, I would like to see if anyone has a question.
Are you finished with your presentation, Mohammed?
Yeah, I think the idea is not to how can I say, present all our products. Just
of course.
Just want to give a little demo of how can I say, of the dialog system, and try to I'm gonna try to explain the components defined in the presentation and used in the application, you know, in the real world. Now I don't know if anybody wants to or needs a clarification, or
I'd be interested to see how your product handles answers or questions that are unrelated to the context of the previous conversation. So maybe say something that's completely out of
scope.
Yes.
Like, let's go ahead, and what do you need to? Let's I'll let you. I'm a biased, so it's better to. It's better.
I don't know. The owner of the yellow car lives in a blue house.
Of a yellow car lives in a blue house. This is it should be classified as out of scope, and it's a really interesting subject in natural language processing, as it's a class in itself, and we need to classify it as something that it's like out of scope, and and we shouldn't handle. I cannot help you with that. I'm sorry. Let us back to, but let's say, what is the difference between permanent life insurance and term life insurance?
So basically, it indicates that it doesn't understand what you're trying to say and steers you back to the conversation.
Yeah, exactly. Which means, like, okay, it's an out of scope question. It's like, I would like to
order pizza.
Yeah, okay, like to order pizza. And randomly it means like, okay, I can't handle that request. It's out of scope, it's not my domain, it's like you go to a bakery and ask them for meat. Like say, okay, no, I mean, it's
it could answer, you could try a Google search for that.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, I mean, it's really well trained compared to many, compared to many dialog systems and insurance which are like rule based, most of them, like just buttons, and it's a kind of form. I didn't frankly see serious NLP dialog system that are like purely based on natural language processing. So every single intent is even if I do this for a machine, it's an input, right?
Yes.
It could be a sentence as and it should be classified as an out of scope.
What about the navigating through the flow of conversation? So, for example, if I ask them to repeat something or formulate it differently, can it handle that kind of request?
Yeah, of course. If you define the process, you could go wherever. I mean, let's say I would like to restart the conversation, for instance.
Okay. Yeah, that would be a good example.
To restart. Are you sure you want to? Because we want to make sure, as this sentence could be, could be wrong. I mean, not well classified. So we want to make sure that, okay, we would like to restart the conversation. So we classified well, and we predict an answer, which is, are you sure you want to restart? Yes, I want to restart.
I see.
And now I can go within any process. Let's say live quotation. I could also have, I don't know, let's say I'll start to, I don't know. Do you have a question in insurance and life insurance, Frédéric? Any questions? Like,
Can you ask what's the best policy I can get for car insurance?
okay, but you are live, but it's good. What is the best?
The best
No, it's
policy.
good to see if to see if he's confused about life and car, right?
Yeah.
What is the best policy
for car insurance?
For car insurance, yeah, it's a nice. As it should be classified as
somewhat related.
This type of insurance is not yet supported, and we apologize. But of
it's
course,
good.
it's supported.
Yeah, it recognizes that the subject is related. We have a question by Victoria. I'm going to show it on the screen so everyone can see it.
What is the consumer dropout rate?
Customer dropout rate.
Customer loss during the process compared to regular chatbot. It's a very good question, and it's true that it's well. I mean, if you, how can I say, the bottleneck of this dynamic conversation that the customer, I don't want to say could because we offer like a guided process, but and we give the option for people who really how can I say, the people who used to interact with the Siri and those kind of applications to navigate, how can I say, dynamically. So as you see here, but it's very good questions. Let's say I want to have life insurance quotation. So as you see here, it's really, I can really, how can I say, you use the chatbot as a form, do you know, I say no, and now, so I will fill out a form. As you see here, did you smoke? I could say no. And do you have a debt? Yes. The total of the debt, I would say $300,000, 22 years. And is there a risk that the consumer, that we could lose a consumer if the consumer follows those the following questions? I'm biased. I'm not sure. Do you have any dependent children under? I say no. Do you intend? Yes. When would you expect to have a child? In 3 years. So what is your annual? 90, 100,000. 100,000. Have you already? Yes and no. As you see, if I could follow the process, and the customer or the user is still in the flow here. If the user follows the let's say the form that we introduce, but of course the idea is to give an option to let's say, other users who really want to interact differently with dialog systems. And we may, I think we can also always guide the client to the form. So just to make sure that the user stay within a form, but it's a good point. It's a very frequent, how can I say, question that we get from our clients. I don't know, Victoria, if you have other questions or someone else. And I don't know, by the way, why Frédéric.
Yes.
Are the users of the platform could, how can I say, communicate by voice or?
I'm actually not sure about that. I think it's mostly through chat for if they want to ask questions. I think it's just the two of us that can actually communicate by voice. So guys, if you have any questions, feel free to type it in the right hand of part of the window. You should have a chat window and allows you to ask any questions that you have of Mohamed. So Victoria says that you need a YouTube account to be able to communicate.
Okay, I see.
Victoria, do you feel that Mohamed has answered your question? No answer, so I'm gonna assume that the answer is yes in that case, unless you're still typing. Does anyone else have any questions for Mohamed regarding their dialogue system? No one. So I think we can conclude this presentation for tonight. So thank you everyone for coming and listening to Mohamed. Thank you very much, Mohamed, for presenting this very interesting subject. I think that your company's platform is very interesting, and there's obviously a lot of potential. So we have Santosh that does have a question. He wants to follow up on the previous question. Do you provide I assume that it's end-to-end service, including the claims?
Yeah, we provide. Actually, I can quickly show you all the verticals we provide. We provide live, car, home, travel, and commercial vertical. We also, started working on dialog systems for financial services, for loans, personal loans, also companies, like small and medium companies loans as well. And maybe to quickly tackle something, just maybe what we didn't see here. We built like a hybrid platform, so we could start the conversations with the user. The user could start the conversation with the chatbot, for instance, just to go quick and say okay for the record of the conversations and ask maybe for quotation. Do you know? Not really, but I'm not passionate at all. Why should I give my my age, and okay, no, tell me what do you want to correct your age, tell me something else. I'll say, okay, I'm very, impassioned user, I would like to talk to the agent. I would like to talk with an agent. And so here, as you see, we transfer a call, a request to another platform, and we start a real, like, human chat. So as you see here, we could okay. it's not supposed to do that, but it's okay. It's a very good as I will. How can I say? Create quickly like a task on a little task on Jira as I just it
Did it
shouldn't.
actually? What happened? Did it actually get an agent?
No, I mean actually we in here we're supposed to talk with an agent,
Yes.
as you see. Okay.
And you got an administrator. Is that it?
Hello. And how are you?
Oh, I see.
Good, and you? You know, but
So you
I don't
have
know
facilities
why.
to communicate.
But I don't know why here we started with an agent, and when I say how are you,
Oh, I see.
you know,
The system kicked back in.
yeah, exactly, and it's not supposed. We don't supposed to. I mean, anyways, it's a little. I mean, it's
Well, it
nice.
happens.
It happens. It's nice to. It's nice to catch it. You know, like
Yeah.
now as yeah,
As opposed to
as
when you deliver the system, for sure.
yeah,
But
yeah, and
these things
but
happen,
it's
right?
exactly, and it's an dev. So I use the dev environment. So it's not a prod. It's not a prod environment. It's maybe my mistake. As I mean, usually we need to. I mean, to test on prod as in a dev developer. Yeah, do wherever, and we need to test. Yeah, to test the environment before. Yeah, before have like a kind of demo, real. I mean, a live demo with a in a dev environment. But go ahead, Fred. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Victoria and Santosh.
Santosh had
And
another question. Do you want to take one last question, or
yeah, go ahead. Assuming that
this is going to be the last
this.
question? So he's asking if you're capable of scaling your product to other segments like banking, wealth management, and etc.
Yeah, I just mentioned that we already have. It's a good question. We already have a vertical and for personal loans, and we will start another vertical for small and medium companies. Yeah, for loans as well. So it's gonna be pretty much the same user cost. I mean, it's gonna be this pretty much the same customer journey. So let's say would like to get a loan, and we start. First of all, there's an education side. We need to know all the programs that the bank offers. We may ask some advisory questions. Then at one point we go through a form to fill out. We need to fill out a form to have a kind of how can I say to have a kind of score. So we need to know if we are unable to get the loan or not, and that could really streamline the underwriting process of the banks in general, especially now as we have a couple of billions to, how can I say, to distribute within a couple of thousand companies that are struggling, so
Yeah, I see.
especially for small and medium companies, I think that kind of tool could really be helpful to quickly have an idea about if they are eligible to to have a loan or not with the specific bank. So
Yeah,
so at least they could save like a 2 months, and 2 months for a company, for a small company, it's
can make a major difference for sure.
It could make a major difference. Yeah, it's well said.
Okay, well, thank you, Mohammed. Thank you to everyone who came tonight. If you've missed part of the broadcast, it will be available online on YouTube on the MSDev MTL channel. And for those who are interested, next week we have a conference by Michel Goodzeit, who will talk about saving on SQL Server license costs and how to consolidate those. So thank you again, Mohammed, and good evening, everyone.
Thank you, Frédéric.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.